Hello everyone, welcome to Sade's Tarot Tea. Today I have an exciting series that I've been wanting to do on my channel. I want to do the zodiac signs and for each character, what I feel their zodiac sign would be, these characters to these TV shows and movies. So I want to start off this series with speaking about the Friends cast. So if you guys are curious as to what zodiac signs I feel these characters would be, keep on watching. Now guys, I'm going to be talking about, this is going to be a little bit in depth, but I'm going to try not to keep this video so long because, you know, let's be real, most of us have a short attention span. So, you know, I'm going to go ahead and keep it short to the point on why I feel like these characters would be the zodiac sign and why their chart would be this, these signs, these placements. And the reason I'm doing this is because, you know, there's more to these characters. These characters have different ayers. So I can't just say, as an astrologer, I can't just think basic now. I can't just say, what would their sun sign be? No, I gotta go in depth, guys. You guys know that I'm in depth. I'm an in-depth person, you know? So let's go ahead and get started. So for any of my people that are new to astrology, let me go ahead and explain the placements real quick. I will put the timestamp below if you don't want to hear this, if most of you guys know what these placements represent. Okay, so the sun sign of course represents what we say to people. We say, oh, I'm a Virgo sun, you know, that's what we tell people, like, I'm a Virgo sun, you know. It's just our outer layer, it's just our persona that we portray. Along with our rising sign is the first impression, which I will be touching on for these characters. The rising sign is basically you know, our appearance to other people, how other people perceive us, right? And it also kind of goes into what we look like, you know, how we dress even. But I'm going to go ahead and touch on that too with the characters. Also, I will be touching on their moon signs because, again, there's multiple layers. I can't just say, oh, you know, this character would be this sign, this sun sign, because then people would be like, I don't see that, you know? So then I got to go in depth on their moon sign, which is our emotions, our relationship to our mother, and our emotional fulfillment, right? Mercury is the planet of represents the planet of communication and how we process communication and how we speak, okay? And how we speak to others. Our Venus sign, that's pretty self-explanatory, is how we love others, how we are in a relationship, how we spend our money on people that we care about, and it's also our relationship to our friends. And the Mars sign is how we are when we're sexual, our passion, our drive, what drives us, especially in the workplace, what drives us towards our goals, ambitions in life, okay? And how we are when we're angry. And then the rising sign, like I said, not last but not least, the rising sign, like I said, is about our outer appearance and also how people perceive us, not how we perceive ourselves. Our first impressions of that person, right? So let's go ahead and get started. I hope this explained what I'm about to talk about. So I first wanted to start off with Monica. Monica is so funny. I love her. I think she would be a Virgo sun because she's very like OCD, like a Virgo to me. She's very cleanly. Cleanly, is that a word? She likes to clean. She likes to clean a lot. She likes to be very matronly, like very much a mother. She's the one that keeps everyone in order. You know, Monica likes order. She likes things. I was watching a couple clips of, you know, the Friends cast just to refresh my memory because it has been a minute since I've seen the show. But nonetheless, I've watched the show on repeat. This is my favorite show, which is why I had to do this. And I don't see this going around a lot, you know? So anyway, Monica to me would be a Virgo, like I said, Virgo sun, because, you know, she's all about order. Like, she keeps everyone in order. She keeps everyone in line. She's the mother. She's like, you know, let's be responsible, like a Virgo. She's always on time. She's very practical. And I like that about her. I think that makes her, you know, she's kind of like stick up the ass too, you know, but she's very freaky like a Virgo at the same time. Like, you only really see that come out when she's with Chandler and, like, you know, her other guys that she dates in the show, especially, I forgot that one guy's name, but I'll put his picture here. The guy that she dates and like falls in love with besides Chandler, like, you see her freaky side come out when he's around her, and I think that's so Virgo. And she's very like, she watches what she says. She's very shy. When you first meet her, when you first get to know her, she's very shy at first, which kind of goes against what I'm going to say her rising's in, but I'm going off of when she warms up to people, you know. But yeah, that's just her outer layer. But when you get to know her a little bit more, that Virgo falls away. And like all Virgos, I've seen this happen a lot with Virgos, where you start to see their true personality come out. And I feel like that's more so her rising, which comes out. Anyway, her moon, I feel like, would be in Cancer, because again, like I said, she does have an emotional side, but again, you only see that, like, you know, when you really get to know her, you only really see that Cancer come out when she's such a mother. Again, this fits her perfectly to me. She's very closed off with her emotions. She can be kind of cold like a Cancer when she doesn't want to express her emotions. She can be very cold and not receptive. And she can, you know, shut down very fast. I've seen a couple scenes where she's with Chandler and she doesn't really open up, and Chandler's like, open up, what's going on with you, you know? I think I've seen a couple scenes where she does that, especially when Chandler proposes to her. Yeah. She comes off so cold, like a Virgo and a Cancer moon, but she's still like very emotional. Like she's still very impulsive, like a Cancer at times, you know, because Cancers can be impulsive with their emotions, you know. Also, she has a weird relationship with her mom. Like, she's always trying to compete for her mother's love, like Ross is. So yeah, I think she's a Cancer moon. Mercury and Leo. I gave her Mercury and Leo because she, like, I've noticed in a couple of the clips I've seen, like, she speaks very, like, without thinking. She doesn't really... Mercury and Leos all the time just speak, and they're very blunt, but they get away with how blunt they are. And I just noticed in a lot of clips, Monica's very blunt, but people excuse it. They're like, oh, it's Monica. Like, whereas if, you know, when Phoebe does it, they're like shocked. They're like, what the fuck? You know, like, which is why you're gonna see why, because I'm gonna get what I give her placement. But yeah, I just noticed the comparisons between Monica when Monica says something and when Phoebe says something. It's interesting. And her being a Mercury and Leo too, she's just very smart ass, like a Virgo too. She's a very smart assy type of woman. She likes to cook, like a Cancer moon. That's why I gave her a Cancer placement. And, you know, like I said, her Mercury and Leo, she just gets away with a lot. I've noticed, especially when she talks. Like, everyone just excuses a lot of her behavior, like words that she says. And then I gave her Venus in Virgo because Venus and Virgos are all about, like, fixing their relationships. I noticed that Monica always fixes her relationship. She stays a little bit too long in relationships. And she fixes it all the time because she's such a perfectionist. And you gotta admire that about her. She has, it kind of gets annoying a little bit, but she really wants things to work, you know? And I think that's why she's such a Virgo to me. And, she's very loyal to her friends, and like a Virgo, she's very loyal, but at the same time, it's really hard for Monica to, like, open up. So a lot of times you don't see her open up a lot, like a Virgo and a Cancer, until she really trusts those people. Okay. And then I gave her Mars and Virgo again because I was bordering on Mars and Scorpio with her, but I don't think she's as intense as a Scorpio, so I gave her Virgo. Because, again, like, she reminds me of a Virgo. She's very freaky like a Virgo. And she's all about, like, serving her friendships and being super loyal and driven and passionate for what she goes for, and very, like, much a perfectionist, especially when, you know, she wants to have a child with Chandler. She's like, no, we're gonna keep doing it. We're gonna keep doing it. And he gets mad. He's like, why does this have to be perfect? Like, he doesn't say that, but you can tell, like, he's just like, oh, like, you want this, like, perfect, you know what I mean? And then rising in Leo, I gave Monica because she's very, like I said, when that Virgo falls away, you start seeing her competitiveness. She's very competitive like a Leo, very blunt like a Leo, very showboaty like a Libra, like when she had a Libra, very showboaty like a Leo. When she gets the dreads in her hair, like, she's just, like, so, like, oh, yeah, man, like, yeah, like, I don't know, I just love it. So that's my Monica. Those are your placements. Okay, next up, I have Ross. Man, everyone has an opinion about Ross. It's so funny. Like, a lot of times I see people give Ross Libra, but I don't know, like, Ross doesn't strike me as a Libra. He's just too... he's not like, I feel like Libras, kind of like Virgos, have this sense of order to them, and Ross is just all over the place, especially with his emotions. So that's why I gave him Sun in Cancer. And the reason why I gave him Sun in Cancer is because he just reminds me of a Cancer, about how impulsive he is, and just how like he gets so annoyed with the way people don't, when people don't like respond emotionally to what Ross is feeling, he gets really upset. He clings on to people very fast, kind of like a Cancer. He clings, like, it does take Cancers a minute, but if they see something, or someone they really like, Cancers can become like obsessive, kind of like a Scorpio, which is why I gave him Moon in Scorpio, because I was gonna give him Moon in Libra, but then I was like, no, he's like really intense. Like, everything he does is like super intense. He holds emotional grudges, which so reminds me of a Cancer and a Scorpio. And I've seen this like placement before. Well, Lauren Haregi, I just did a reading on her. I haven't met someone that's a Cancer sun with a Moon in Scorpio. I'm really curious about that. But I imagine they're like Ross. Like, no offense if there's any Cancer Scorpio moons. But, you know, he's just very intense. He's very all about his, you know, about the people he cares about, like a Cancer. He clings to people. He really like loves, when he loves hard, you know, and just how much he loves Rachel. And even though he's like, we were on a break, like, he will argue his point, like, you know, he will argue his point. Which is why I gave him Mercury in Cancer, because again, he's very sensitive with his words, but he still holds on to what he believes in. He still holds grudges, like a Cancer to me. Even with his words, he's very passive aggressive too, I've noticed. You know, so I did give him a Libra placement. But not Mercury in Libra. He, to me, is just too emotional for, like, a Libra placement in Mercury. I don't know. Like, he just reminds me of a water, in a Mercury water sign, you know? He always tries to watch what he says. Out of all the guys, he's the one that watches the most of what he says, I've noticed, because he really worries about how it affects someone emotionally. He's the only one, you know? So that's why I gave him Mercury in Cancer. And then I'm going to give him Venus in Libra, because he's always in a relationship. He's always getting married. He bases his worth off of a relationship, like a Libra. Sorry, Libras. But y'all do this, you know. He's just always, he's in love with love. He's such a romantic. He's, out of all the guys, he's the most romantic one. And he's the most emotional one, which is why I gave him a water sign. And it's funny because David is actually a Scorpio, and I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. And I feel like David brings that Scorpio-ness into Ross. So that's why when I watched and I actually saw that he's a Scorpio, I had to put him as a Moon in Scorpio, because I can't, you know, Scorpios, I just notice suns that are actors or actresses, they can't chisel away at that Scorpio. You know, they bring it into that character, kind of like Leos do too. So anyway, I gave him Venus in Libra, and he's always getting married. Like, what the fuck? Mars in Taurus is what I gave him, because I feel like he's very sexual, like a Taurus, but at the same time, he's very quiet about it. And you don't really see that side of him unless, like, you notice, unless Rachel talks about how fun he is in the bedroom, but you wouldn't know that because he's so quiet about it. And he's very, like, slow to move when he likes someone. He moves fast, but getting to know them, he just, like, boom, like, he jumps in, which is a Venus in Libra, but then he tries to slow it down in some ways. I don't know. I just feel like if we were to see more of Ross in a relationship, I think we would see that. Like, him being that Mars and Taurus. Like, but you don't see that because he channels his Venus and Libra a lot. But I feel like once he's really committed to someone, he's committed, which is why I gave him Mars and Taurus. But he does sometimes move slow. Like with Rachel, he does move slow in getting with her. That's the only one he moves slow with. But that's the one he really was in love with. Interesting, right? Okay. Rising in Virgo. I was bordering on his rising sign. I was like, I don't know what his rising sign would be. But I feel like he can come off very I don't know, like he's very bougie, like he bourgeois, like I don't know, he's very bougie to me. Like when you see him, and you're kind of a little intimidated with that Scorpio moon and Virgo rising. You're kind of like, I feel like people would be intimidated to approach him because he always has like that face. Like I don't know, he just like, I feel like I wouldn't be able to approach Ross like if I saw him in person. And I'd be curious to see if David was actually a Virgo rising because he gives me this very intimidating air about him, but that could be because of his Scorpio. But I feel like he would be really hard to like approach. And he wears a lot of like turtlenecks. He's always dressed. He's a teacher. I mean, come on, how Virgo is that? Like he's a teacher. Like so it's like, and he's very smart but critical. Like he's judgmental like a Cancer. Sorry guys. But you know, Ross, these are your placements. Okay, so next up is Rachel. Now, people are gonna probably argue with me on this because Rachel's my favorite one. But Rachel to me is I gave Rachel a Capricorn sun because, guys, don't kill me. I'm not saying this because she's my favorite. Okay, I guess I am. But she reminds me of a Capricorn. Like a lot of people I notice give her Taurus. Now, I know that Jennifer Aniston is actually an Aquarius, but I don't know, like her character Rachel reminds me of a Capricorn because she was very sheltered, and you know, Capricorns aren't sheltered, but if they are sheltered, I'm a Capricorn and I kind of grew up this way too. So like, but she's very bougie. Like she's very bougie like a Capricorn. So I gave her Capricorn sun because she's very good at, she likes to work, not at first, but she does like to work. And man, I'm bordering on her giving her Taurus now. Like I feel like I do see the Taurus. I see it. But I don't know, the reason I give her Capricorn is because she writes long ass letters. Like when her and Ross were arguing and she wrote him like a 5-page letter. Do you guys remember that song by Aaliyah, 5-page letter? Like that is such a Capricorn thing to write long ass letters to people or like long ass text messages to people. Like we lecture like a motherfucker. And she starts lecturing Ross and she's just very bougie. You know, she's just like very scared to go like outside of her comfort zone, which yes, I feel like can be Taurus. But I feel like, I don't know, like she just doesn't have the skills like cooking. Like a Taurus is naturally good at cooking. Not all Tauruses. You know, and she does like food, but not as much as a Taurus does, you know. But she's not very motherly, you know what I mean? Like Tauruses are just, their ruling planet is Venus, like so they're naturally good at that stuff. She's not, you know. She's very bad in relationships too. Like I feel like Tauruses can be, but she's not. Like she's very bad at relationships, like a Capricorn. Very bad at relationships. No offense, Capricorns, but we're horrible in relationships. But her moon, I would say, is in Taurus because she's very, like, she's very closed off with her emotions. She does let it show sometimes, but, you know, she doesn't let it come out that often. But when it does, like, you start to see, like, how stubborn she gets with her emotions. And, you know, but there is still that pushy, like pushover thing that she does where Phoebe calls her out for being a pushover. And Capricorns, let's be real, y'all, when we really care about people, we are pushovers. And I see that in Rachel. Mercury and Aquarius is what I gave her because I feel like, you know, she's just very, like, I don't know. Mercury and Aquarius can be a little bit airy when they speak, and sometimes Rachel gets mistaken for dumb, you know, because she just says things and you're like, are you not saying Mercury and Aquarius are dumb, but she doesn't always hear what she says, you know. And it helps that she's actually an Aquarius, but I hear the Aquarius Mercury going on, you know, and she likes to be a trendsetter, especially with her clothes. And that's very Capricorn too, but I gotta throw in some Aquarius in there. And she's into styling too. That's very Taurus, her moon in Taurus, I feel like. Okay. And then I gave her Venus in Capricorn because she likes to date people that, you know, you don't see this a lot in the show, but the energy I pick up from her character is that she would like to date someone that has a lot going for themselves. Like, you know, she does like to take care of herself. In the beginning, she didn't, but then she starts becoming, and she starts evolving into her own person. Plus, she can be very cold in relationships, and she kind of just treats Ross bad a lot of times. And she doesn't see, like, but you still love her anyway, but she doesn't see how she comes off very cold to Ross, or how she just kind of, like, uses Ross and then kind of, like, throws him away. Which is why I also gave her Mars and Scorpio. Now, it's funny, Jennifer Aniston's actually a Mars and Scorpio. But I feel like, again, Scorpio energy can't hide this. Even in characters, I see it. And, you know, Rachel's very sexual. Like, she's very sexual. And she loves sex. But she's very closed off about it. She likes to act very pure and Capricorn about it. But I feel like a Capricorn and Mars and Scorpio person would be interesting. Anyway, then I gave her a rising in Taurus because she's very beautiful. Taurus risings come off very beautiful. I mean, they are beautiful. They're beautiful inside and out. They have this warmth about them, which Jennifer playing Rachel does, and she brings that into the character, and I actually see that a lot in Rachel when she warms up. She's very caring, like a Taurus. She doesn't have the qualities like of a motherly Taurus, but that's okay. I feel like she starts to when she starts having her daughter, like in the show, she starts becoming a good mother, like you see it. But whereas before you didn't, you saw more of that Capricorn. Then as the show goes along, you start to see more of that Taurus come out, which I think is beautiful. So Rachel, these would be your placement. All right, next up we have Joey. Joey, I gave Taurus because that was so fucking easy because he loves food. Which is why I didn't give Rachel Taurus, because I just see Joey as a I just see him as a Taurus, like how much he loves food, how invested into food he gets, how he hates change. He really hates change. Out of everyone in the whole series, he hates change. He doesn't like it. He just doesn't like it. And when things start changing, he's the one that gets the most upset. Also, he's very loyal like a Taurus, especially to Chandler. Like, they've got like their little buddy thing going on, and especially to Ross too. But more so, I feel his loyalty is to he interchanges, but I feel like him and Chandler have this like bromance or something going on. We saw it a little bit with him and Ross, but him and Chandler, I don't know, they just really like are so loyal to each other. Yes, so I gave him Taurus because of that, and he's very sexual, like a Taurus. Yeah. And then I gave him Moon in Leo because of course he's an actor, and Leos like to be the actor and the actress of their life. They like this whole thing is their stage, and Joey's into acting. He's very bigger than life too, which I think helps that Taurus. Like, you see that Taurus come to life within him, and it's really funny to see that. And he's very quick to feel his emotions. We don't see him cry or anything like that, but he gets very emotional, like a Leo would, like very abrupt. And even when he gets angry, and how protective he is. Tauruses are very possessive, and so are Leos, and you see that come out in his energy. I see that. It's so funny. Then I gave him Mercury and Scorpio because I was watching a lot of clips, and Joey says things that people are like, wait, what is that supposed to mean, Joey? Just like how he goes, how you doing? Like, I don't know, like, I don't know, like, that to me is like, the way he says it, like, it's like, oh, you know what's up. You know what I mean? Like, in Scorpio energy, like, they say things to put things in your head. And a lot of the things he says, too, are, like, really dark. There were a couple of scenes where I was watching him, and he says really dark things, and you're just like you don't expect it from him because he does it so randomly. But when he does it, it makes a lasting impression, and that to me is so Scorpio. And he's very sexual too, like a Scorpio. So of course I feel like he would like to sex talk someone, or like, he's just funny. He's just funny. Okay, and then next up, Venus and Aries, because I gave Joey, because again, I feel like he would be very sexual. He is very sexual. He loves sex. He and Arians are very sexual people, especially Venus and Arians. and Mars and Aries people. And people enjoy having sex with him. You know, they always brag about how good he is in the bedroom and how he likes to wow people in the bedroom. He's very competitive, I feel like, in the bedroom. And I just feel like Venus and Aries fits him so well. And he hops in and out of relationships. He's always out of a relationship as quickly as he starts them. He doesn't like to be tied down for very long until he starts to think he likes Rachel a lot. Yeah, so that's so Venus and Aries to me. The next up, I gave him Mars and Taurus because, again, Taurians are very sensual, very sexual, and Joey's very sensual, very sexual, likes to take his time with the women he dates, likes to move kind of a little bit slow when he does decide to date them, but he's very quick to get them in the bedroom just because I feel like Taurus, when they're very like horny and shit, like they can move quick like that, which is that Venus and Aries, which is why I wanted to do this series about the different breakdown of how they would be, because you start to see that with him. Like, you're just like, oh shit, like you're very sexual, Joey, you know. And you see how, like, when he does want to date them, he moves very slow, then he moves slow, you know. Then I gave him Rising in Sagittarius because he's very likable, he's very funny, like a Sagittarius. He has that dark cheek, tongue-in-cheek humor about him, and you start seeing that as the series goes along. And he just moves very fast too. A lot of times when he's in a relationship or when people get to know him, he's very quick with his jokes, but he's not the brightest like tool in the shed, which is that Taurus energy sometimes. Like, you know, Taurus men, excuse me, like they can not, you know, people mistake them for not, no offense, Taurus men, but they can mistake them for not being the brightest tools in the shed, just because a lot of them can be about like their health, or like they may have like a Virgo, you know, energy to them. But with Joey, I don't know, I just gave that to him. Yeah, Rising in Sagittarius for Joey. Joey, these are your placements. Next up, I have Phoebe. Everyone's favorite is Phoebe, right? And for Phoebe, I gave her Sagittarius because I was bordering on Pisces for her, or Aquarius. But she always reminds me of a Sag because, like, she doesn't like to be, like, held down or told what to do. She likes to move on her own, do her own thing. She doesn't like, you know, staying in one place for too long. It's hard for Phoebe. If you notice, out of everyone, she doesn't have a job. You know, she does, and when she does, she doesn't have it very long. And I think it's funny how she has a twin. I think the twin and her, like, go at it, and they just hate each other, and I think that's hilarious. But she, like, makes fun of it. She, like, makes light of it at times, but then she's, like, being dead serious. Like, and when she is being serious, like, people don't take her seriously, and I feel like that's very Sagittarius. I think, you know, a lot of times, like, even she'll, like, laugh at her pain, or she'll, like, seeing the interaction between her and Mike, you know, she can hurt people a lot. And I feel like Mike would be a Virgo. And just how they play off of each other. And when she does fall in love, she does become loyal, you know. And, yeah, so I gave her moon in Leo because she has a bigger than life personality. I don't know, her moon sign was hard. Like, her moon was hard because I don't know, I couldn't think of anything bigger, you know, but funny and, like, lighthearted. And that to me can be Leos, you know. With that Sagittarius and that moon in Leo, she's just very bigger than life, very funny, very fun to be around, but also very blunt about her emotions. A lot of times she goes, oh my god, and they just, like, they're like, oh my god, you know, like, they, because she's just so extra, you know, like a Sagittarius too, and like a Leo. And I would know because I have my sun in the 5th, so I would know. And then I gave her Mercury, and I gave her Mercury and her Venus and Sagittarius, because again, when she speaks, she says very abrupt things. Things don't always make sense, but she's funny about it. Like, she always is very funny about it, but not quite like a Gemini, like where she thinks about it, like she just says it, and that's very Mercury and Sag. But it's like every time she says something, it's very funny, you know, it's very lighthearted. She likes very lighthearted things. She doesn't like super, like, serious things. And she, out of everyone in the whole, like, friend group, like, she's the one that moves around the most. She's the one that kind of, like, does her own thing. And then Mars I gave her, Venus and Sagittarius, because she doesn't like to commit. She's very open. She's the more open one out of everyone. She's the more down one. She's the one that says very sexually abrupt things. Like, when she was playing around with Ross, and she was like, oh, does that make you mad, Daddy? Does that make you mad? Like, that is so Mercury and Sag. Like, I love it. Like, that's some shit I would say. Like, ooh, does that make you mad? Like, ooh, you know, like, she just likes fucking with people too, and she likes fucking with Ross. Like when he gets very emotional, she's like she starts making fun of him. And, you know, she makes fun of you. When she loves you, she makes fun of you. But with Ross, she's just like, ugh. Like, Sagittarius is when someone's too emotional, they can't stand that shit. Which is why I didn't give her Pisces. I could have given her Aquarius, but I don't know. She does have an Aquarius placement, which is Mars in Aquarius. She's very freaky, like an Aquarius. She likes to do really outside of the box things, like a Mars in Aquarius. You know, she doesn't like boring sex. You know, she hates that. But at the same time, she's very private about it. And Mars and Aquariuses are very, like, tight-lipped about their sex life. You know, if they know you, they'll talk about it. But it takes a long time, you know? And she does say things, but it's only because of her it's only because of her Mercury and Sagittarius. Yeah, then I gave her rising in Pisces because she is very hippie, very Aquarius too. I gave her a very hippie. Sagittarius can be like very like fluid and hippie, and like the way she does her hair is very like, I don't know, it's very Pisces to me. It's very Aquarius, very Sagittarius. So, you know, she's always changing it up. She's always dressing very free. Like she likes to wear very free flowing stuff. Yeah, so Phoebe, these would be your placements. And next up, last but not least, I have Chandler. I gave Chandler interesting placements, I think. Chandler, I don't know, he would be an Aries to me. Aries, because he just moves very fast. He's very impatient. He's very smart like an Aries. One of the things he does is like, no one knows what he does. Like, no one knows where he works. I remember when they had a quiz and they're like, what is Chandler's job? And he's like, I told you guys this before, and no one could think of it. Like, because they're just like, they don't pay attention to a lot of the stuff that Chandler does. And I feel like Aries have to, like, fight for people's attention. They're very fun to be around, but a lot of times, like, there's so much like that, so much that people get annoyed of them. And like Chandler reminds me so much of an Aries. Like, I don't know, it's funny. Like when he starts like communicating with people, he doesn't say things always the correct way, which is why I'm giving him Mercury in Aries. I'm jumping around here. But I'm giving him Mercury in Aries because he sucks at talking, like, to people, like, communication. Like, he just, like, and I don't mean, like, a Gemini he sucks. Like, I mean, like, he's not empathetic. He just says things without thinking. That's very fire in Mercury. And he's just like, well, that's what I said. Like, why are you offended? Like, it is what it is. And that's very Aries to me. And he's competitive. When him and Monica, like, compete, like, it's funny. Like, or when they go up against each other, it's very funny. I don't know. Like, I just love it. I love how funny Chandler is. And I love when I love when Joey has his dumb moments and he's just like, you're serious, right? Like, he, like, fucks with him. Oh my god, I just love it. Then I gave him Moon in Gemini because he's, like, out of everyone, I notice he's the most quiet one. He's the most quiet one. He doesn't really talk a lot. But when he does talk, he always says the wrong fucking thing. And Moon and Geminis do that a lot. And he doesn't always know how to express his emotions. And he has these, like, outbursts when he does. And Moon and Geminis, especially if they have, like, a fire sun, they will have, like, emotional outbursts. They'll just say things. Like, I know a couple of fire signs with Moon and Gemini, and they do this. Like, you're just like, what, where the fuck did that come from? I had to give him Moon and Gemini. And he sucks at expressing his emotions. He sucks at it, you know? And people just don't get Chandler, you know? They're just like, you're not funny. Like, and he's like, yeah, I'm funny. Like, and he tries to prove that he's funny, you know? Which is why I gave him Venus and Leo. I had to give him a Leo placement. I'm giving him Venus and Leo because when he is in love, he goes hard for, like, Monica. He goes so hard for her. He's so loyal to her. And he really wants to make her happy. He does so many cute romantic things for her. And I think that's very Venus and Leo. And he can be a little bit self-absorbed too. Self-absorbed. He can be a little self-absorbed. Yeah, I think I said that right. And he's very loyal to his friends. Okay, now Chandler's Mars placement was really hard because he's very sexual. But he's not... I don't know, like, he's just, he's not as, like, aggressive. He's not super aggressive like Monica is. So I gave him Mars in Virgo because he's very sexual, like a Virgo. But he's very quiet with how he's sexual. Like, when he actually gets down to the act, he's very quiet about it, like, to everyone else. But he does say things that are sexual or, you know, that are jokey joke. Like, he doesn't really, like, he's not as open as Joey is about his sex life. You know, he's very like hush about it. But when he's talking to Monica, you start seeing how sexual he truly is. Sometimes he'll let it out with the girls or the guys, mainly with the guys, I think. But it's funny. And he's very all about like self-serving. Like he's like, yeah, like I'll do whatever you want. Like whenever Monica wants to do something, he's like down for it. He's like, yeah, let's do it, let's do it. And that's so Mars and Virgo to me. But he can be dominant too, which is why I didn't give him Mars and Libra. He can be very dominant too when he wants to be because of that Aries. And then for his rising sign, I gave him rising in Aries because again, he makes horrible first impressions. And I feel like, no offense, Aries risings, but I knew of an Aries rising and she makes horrible first impressions. And he makes horrible first impressions. And it's just funny to watch him make horrible first impressions. Actually, I've known 2 Aries risings, and they do not make good first impressions. Plus, he can be a bit sloppy with the way he dresses or just with everything. He's so sloppy, and Monica has to always clean up after him or tell him to clean up, and that's so Virgo. One thing I also didn't touch on with Ross is my favorite scene is where he's like, you ate my sandwich? You ate my sandwich? And he gets all like emotional about it. And he's holding like a grudge for the rest of the day that the professor ate his sandwich. I think it's the professor or the principal. I don't remember. But he's like so mad and he has an emotional outburst like a Cancer. Like, don't touch my stuff. Don't look at my stuff. Like, that's so Cancer. And he's a good father too. He's like very good father to Ben. And when he gets when he has a baby with Rachel, he gets very, like, he's very good at being a dad. Like, and that to me is so Cancer. And then last but not least too, I have to add Janice and Gunther. Janice, I'm going to keep it short for this one just because this video is already long. But Janice, I feel like she would be a Leo. I don't know, Janice is so funny. And I feel like she'd be a Venus in Scorpio because she's always thinking like Chandler's like following her or like obsessed with her. But I also think that Janice's Mars would be in like either Sagittarius or Scorpio. Like, I don't know, guys. I feel like Janice is freaky. Like, I feel like she's very good in the bedroom. I feel like she's so good in bed. Like, I don't know. I feel like she's like a freak. Like, oh my God. And then I feel like, I think she would be a double Leo or something. She'd have to be a double Leo. Something like Moon in Leo or Rising in Leo. Because she's so, like, out there. Like a Leo. And then Gunther, I gave Scorpio, of course. Because he's so dedicated to Rachel. He's, like, obsessed with Rachel. No offense, Scorpios. But when y'all love someone, you're very obsessive. Yeah, Gunther is hilarious. I fucking love Gunther, but I feel like his moon would be in like Libra or something. I don't know. And then I said that Mike, he'd be a Virgo for sure. So guys, let me know what you think. Do you like the series? Sorry that it was so long. I really enjoy talking about zodiac signs. This is one of my passions along with tarot, and I want to break my channel up and do some fun things like this. I'm really trying to like think outside the box. I mean, that's what my moon placement is all about. Moon and Aquarius up in this bitch, right? So guys, let me know what you think. Did you agree with my placements? If not, then let me know. Like, what do you guys think these characters' placements would be? And also let me know what else you would like to see me do within this series. What other TV shows or movies you guys would like to see me do? If I haven't seen that movie, I'll have to watch it if it gets enough votes, okay? Like, once again, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you want to book a personal reading with me, the link is in the description below. Again, I appreciate all of the love and support you guys have given me, and thank you for allowing me to be me on my channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys again for watching. This has been Sade's Tarot Tea. Love and light, guys. Bye.